So this hit the press yesterday and could actually see Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lose their royal titles. Now, this is not just exaggerated clickbait and it's not hyperbole. This is real. This is some really serious stuff. You'll recall just recently, Prince Harry lost his sort of almost final bid arguing with the Home Office over his security arrangements in the UK. Then he did his BBC interview. I was going to do a long-winded video on that as well, but I didn't. I will probably reference it throughout this video. But after all that, this seems to be the latest sort of hitback, if you like, which may well see him lose his titles because he's apparently received a warning because they appear to be attempting to compete with Buckingham Palace by trying to set up their own quote-unquote royal court, wait for it, from Montecito in California, which sounds ridiculous. In fact, it is ridiculous, but I'll explain a little bit more in this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We're here on Secrets. I do like to delve into these things now and again. I keep them off for the large part of my main channel, my Black Belt Barrister channel, and I like to bring them to you here. I know I've got a very wide international audience. I thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe, though. That does help my channel grow and spread my videos to a wider audience. So let's start at the basics. What is the royal court, and why is it that they cannot set one up? Well, you will know that working royals in the UK with our 1,000-year monarchical history have assistants and a structure throughout the royal household that allows them to carry out royal functions, communication, and just run the household. And so they will have all sorts of private secretaries, ladies-in-waiting communication officers, domestic staff, and key departments, which include the secretarial functions, Lord Chamberlain's office, and all other areas that run the royal residences, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, Clarence House, etc. But there is also a constitutional role, and this is sort of coming to the reason why Meghan and Harry won't be able to set it up in the same way. I suspect they will set something up, but it won't be an official royal court as it's being reported, and this is why I think they've been given this warning, reportedly. Now, there's a constitutional role of this royal court to support the monarch in constitutional duties, such as meeting with Prime Minister, other foreign dignitaries, ceremonial roles and duties, and so on, state opening of Parliament, and it's funded by the sovereign grant. And so all of this setup is a historical tradition, with the royal court being at the centre of our political system of power, and with nobles and advisors all trying to press for influence from different areas of governance. But ultimately, it's all because there is a monarch and this royal court supporting the royal household all work together on this constitutional basis. So hopefully that explains broadly what it is and why it's there and what its function is. But that is also then, you can understand, hopefully with that explanation, why Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they can set up a staff if they like and run their household as they like. But the problem with them is going to come when they start to try to set it up as a commercial venture. If they are calling it the royal court or the royal household of the Duke of Sussex and or Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that is going to be the problem, because since 2020 they stepped back from official royal duties, they moved over there, and since then they've done all sorts of things which have raised eyebrows, drawn criticism, and let's face it, between the interviews and the books and everything else, they haven't really painted them in the best light internationally. But the red flags and the alarm bells here is, if they are going to set up their own little royal court, royal household in Montecito, the royal household of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, etc., and then start to run commercial activities off the back of that and in effect compete with Buckingham Palace, that is going directly against the agreement of their stepping away from the royal family in the first place. Because you'll recall that they were not supposed to use their titles and the royal emblem and royal anything, and there's been all sorts of arguments over the website, and I've covered those in previous videos. I'll not repeat that here. But all these sorts of arguments about commercializing their royal or erstwhile royal duties, and then accordingly they would ostensibly be in direct competition with Buckingham Palace, which again is against what they agreed to. And that is why they've essentially been warned by this royal commentator, Tom Bower, who's criticised this new structure and rejected the idea that this actually constitutes a genuine royal court. And I would agree. I am not a constitutional lawyer, but it's certainly at the heart of the system in the UK and underpins the way that this country runs. And any royal court set up elsewhere, just because it was by a member of the royal family who has stepped back from royal duties, moved abroad, and then ostensibly sets up their own royal household, that just cannot be a genuine royal court in any sense of the word. So this may well lead to a serious risk about their titles. But there's another couple of stories which I want to come back to in a moment, which has really perplexed me as to why, particularly Meghan Markle, it would seem, is reported in the press in certain ways to convince people to think a certain thing. And I find these genuinely bizarre. And so I've been asked to comment on it. So this will be me commenting on it. But first, a brief word about a very dear partner who supports my channel in bringing this content to you. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. And on another topic very quickly, many of you will be going on holiday very shortly, if not imminently. And when you travel about, you will be wanting to connect to Wi-Fi networks because you want to stay connected to the internet wherever you go, whether that's in a cafe, at a services, or even BNBs and things like that. So if you do that, I would strongly urge that you take up a deal with one of my partners on this channel, which is NordVPN, because that will help to keep you safe. Because NordVPN has a whole host of different features, but they are all designed and geared around security. It gives you an anonymous IP address so that you cannot be tracked and traced as to what your activity is online. It has a comprehensive threat protection feature which will stop web trackers, dangerous websites, and stop you from downloading malware, as well as the added benefit of getting rid of adverts. I'll show you that in just a minute, and lots of other internet threats. But also, if you need to stay connected to your files on your home device, let's say you're taking an iPad with you or whatever, and you want to connect to your home machine, you can have a private encrypted network to your own files called MeshNet, provided by NordVPN. But let me just give you an idea what I mean about removing the ads. Sorry, Daily Mail, but this is the Daily Mail I'm using as this example. The middle section, you'll see I've blurred the photographs because copyright, but notwithstanding that, those photographs would be there. But which bit of this can you actually see the article? Well, let's take a look. We can see this bit here, which is the headline, so I'll highlight that. You can see a little bit of this description of that photograph, so I'll highlight that, and then a little bit of the next story down here, so I can highlight that. But that's about it. That's all you can see, apart from the photographs. The rest is just adverts. Top, bottom, left and right. If I bring on NordVPN here and I just click Quick Connect, you'll see that it very quickly connects to the server, instantly in fact, and then I come back to the article and refresh it. And just look how much cleaner it is once it refreshes. Obviously, the blurs have stayed intact because I use a tool to blur those out for copyright. And now you can look through and browse the article without the intrusion of all those ads. If that isn't worth it, I don't know what is. And as a partner to my channel, I get you 4 months extra free off this service, which has far more features than I can possibly talk about in one video, using the link nordvpn.com/blackbeltsecrets, and it will apply that 4 months extra free for you. It's in the description below, it's on screen, and I can't possibly talk about all the features in just 2 minutes, but go and have a look and you'll be amazed at what you get for less than the price of a cup of coffee. Use the link nordvpn.com/blackbeltsecrets for 4 months extra free. And of course, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee if you change your mind. So do go and check it out, and thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Okay, so back to the news, and what is it that I'm talking about that is so strange about Meghan Markle and the way that she's reported in the press? Because there's more than one example here. I'm going to give you 2 examples. There's quite a few, but I'll give you 2 in this. If you like them, comment below. I'll dig them up. And this is literally my job. What we do, we dig these things up, we look into it, we research it, and we think, this is not consistent with that. And therefore, you can put these to a witness and say, this doesn't accord with that. Therefore, it's wrong. And this is so straightforward, you wouldn't believe. And it's one of the few, it'll be an interesting legal quirk, it's one of the few scenarios where I can use photographs that would otherwise be copyrighted because I am making direct criticism of the use of those photographs, thus would be a defense to any copyright claim. And so here we go. So the headline here, bearing in mind the date of this article, this is from page6.com. And this is no direct criticism, I'm just making observations, page 6, okay? So this is from May the 23rd, which is 3 days ago at the time of recording this video. 3 days ago in 2025. They say Meghan Markle's sweet handwritten note to flight crew goes viral after she ditches private jet to fly commercial. And it goes on to describe this story. And there's other criticisms about the video where somebody made the comment about it. I've not really verified. There was criticism about the uniform and whether that's genuine and so on. Some people have said it's not the right uniform. They don't have the wings on it and all that sort of stuff. But I've not verified that yet, so you can look into that. But I've not put it on here because I haven't verified it. But this I have verified. So let's take a look. So this says that she'd opted for a commercial flight instead of a private jet, and the girlies will never forget it. But then the interesting thing here is that they use this photograph here and says, Meghan Markle left a sweet note to the cabin crew on a recent commercial flight. Recent commercial flight. So it gives you the impression that this photograph is a recent photograph, but it isn't. Because if we move to this other article here, this was from, you probably can't see that, it might be a bit too, well, you might be able to see that, but it's a bit small, December the 19th of 2016. It says, hello at Christmas, Prince Harry drops off girlfriend Meghan Markle after a romantic week. But this, so December 2016. And you scroll down and there's the photograph. Meghan Markle looked casual as she wheeled her suitcase through Heathrow Airport. So this was from 2016. So why use an old photograph and say that it was from a recent commercial flight when it isn't? And so this led me to thinking, why is page 6 using photographs that are not correct and making these articles about her? A little bit strange, but that's not the only thing that's strange. It's not the only photograph that's strange. And similarly, I'm making direct criticism of the photographs here. And there's an interesting trivia with photographs. If it was purely news, then photographs are specifically excluded as what we call fair dealing. It's referred to as fair use in the United States, but here it's fair dealing. But it's specifically excluded under our copyright laws when reporting news. However, if I am specifically criticizing it or reviewing it or pointing out why it's misleading, it's being doctored, or it's unethical, or it's otherwise wrong in somehow, there is a provision under Section 30 of the Copyright Designs and Patents Act whereby it would be fair dealing to use such a photograph. You can see very briefly from the law here under subsection 2, fair dealing with work other than a photograph for the purposes of reporting current events does not infringe copyright. But fair dealing with a work for the purposes of criticism or review does not infringe copyright so long as there's sufficient acknowledgement, etc., which here there is. Because, let's go to this, shall we? Because this was, albeit a bit old now, I accept, but I went down this rabbit hole of page 6 and why they're reporting these things and using different photographs. It says, Meghan Markle is trained in martial arts and kickboxing. Now, I don't know whether that's true. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. It's difficult to tell just by looking at someone whether they've trained in martial arts or not, although the way they move about and the way they hold themselves and the way they manage their body weight and movement, etc., generally gives you an idea whether they are trained in martial arts. I haven't exactly been watching her every move, so I couldn't tell you. But nonetheless, the article claims that she is. That's not really the point. But the point is, there is evidence that suggests that she's not, in that this is not her. I don't know if you've seen this, and some people have said online, you know, is this right? Was this really a doctored photograph? Well, in my opinion, it is. And my criticism and review of this photograph for my copyright reasons is that this is not a genuine photograph, because I found the original photograph. It's this one here. And this Shutterstock photograph, which you can go and buy and use if you need to, but this is where the original photograph came from, because this, you can see, has just had the head changed. Nothing else has changed. The rest is, and apart from it's slightly cropped in, it's cropped at the bottom part of the leg out there. And apart from that, pretty much the same. So that is a doctored photograph, in my opinion. This is from 2020. And this, I don't know when that was uploaded in April 2015. So there's the reference to those. You can go and find those if you wish to. But I just found that a little bit strange. Why doctor a photograph if indeed she has? And I'm not saying she hasn't, but if she has been trained in martial arts, why not use one of those? I've got photographs going back decades of me in martial arts gear training. In fact, if I jump over to my Google Photos right now and just literally search in martial arts. And I'll do this live while I'm talking to you here. And here you can see very poor quality. I've not really used them for anything, but these are from 2009 and they go way back. These were me just doing some videos to show martial arts training and such. And I was going to incorporate those. I did do videos as it happens, just not using most of that material. But if you've trained in martial arts, you've probably had a lot of photographs taken at some point. So I would have thought that you would have photographs if you had trained in martial arts. I would have just thought that you would have those photographs. But anyway, these are some very old ones from 2009. Just before actually I started this channel, which was primarily to teach martial arts because I was training all hours and people wanted one-to-one sessions. So I set this up, Black Belt Secrets, the secrets of being a black belt, and how to train in martial arts. So there it is, strange stories, manipulation of photographs, and all things hitting the press. Let me know what you think about any of that in the comments below. Let me know if you want to see any more martial arts videos or whether they deserve another channel now, because I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I find more and more they don't necessarily belong on my Black Belt Barrister channel, and they may not even belong here on this channel while I'm talking about my opinions on certain things. I've just realized as well that my camera is focusing on my hands a little bit, so forgive me if it's been blurry throughout the video because there's a setting that I haven't changed, but I'll fix that afterwards. So anyway, so thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about any of that in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.